absolutely no sense. And what I find, Bryan, troubling in the committee is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says the world is going to end in 12 years because of global warming. We're going to all be underwater, right? We have to act now, right? And the way they want to act is, again, drive up the cost of housing for the poorest people in America. But when you flip the story on them and say, well, if you think the world's going to end in 12 years, maybe you should change the way that you behave. And so if you look at Bernie Sanders, he got some stink from the Hillary Clinton campaign because it was Bernie Sanders who continually asked for private jets to fly around the country and stump for Hillary Clinton. And if you look at Nancy Pelosi, also a supporter of the Green New Deal, she takes a private jet as a Speaker of the House from D.C. to San Francisco every single week. Your predecessor, Paul Ryan, was the Speaker of the House. He actually flew commercial, didn't
United, welcome.
United. And he would actually fly. He would fly to Chicago and
drive up.
Drive up.
That's my route.
That's your route. And so he didn't take the private jet.
They want to get rid of planes altogether.
Right. And not only that, in Wisconsin, it's shocking they want to get rid of our cows because cows have too much gas. So
I think we got to talk about this when they bring the National Convention to Wisconsin. Do you find any irony there? They bring the National Convention to Wisconsin, the same group that wants to get rid of cows.
Right.
This is going to be a great conversation.
I think it's great they're coming to Wisconsin. So not only are they going to talk about killing our dairy industry, but just a little side note here. We're talking about AOC and the Green New Deal, but around the perimeter of the convention, do you know what they're going to have, Bryan?
Probably a fence.
A fence or a wall. And they're going to have a wall there because their walls are not immoral. Walls actually work. And I bet that they're not going to let anybody flood into the convention. They're going to make you have a pass and permission to actually get in the convention. But what works for the Democrat convention is not good for the American southern border. But that was just a side note. I got to tell you, so going back to the Green New Deal, again, the world's going to end in 12 years. We have Democrats. I talked about Nancy Pelosi and Bernie Sanders, but the author of the Green New Deal, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez herself, lives right by a subway stop. But she wasn't taking the subway in New York. She was taking SUV Ubers all over the city. And she doesn't take Amtrak from New York to Washington, D.C., which I'm sure would have a far less carbon footprint. What does she do? She flies. And so if you really believe the world's going to end in 12 years, don't you think you should change your own behavior before you price more people out of their homes and put them on the street? It's
the same approach that I see a lot of the Hollywood liberal elites. They'll tell you what they want you to do, but they don't want to do it themselves.
That's right. It's good for you to change your life, but I'm not going to change mine. And again, these policies that come from the left truly have an impact on the poorest among us. And it's almost comical, but it's not, because you're going to drive more people into poverty. You're going to give people less jobs, lower incomes, and less housing. And then they come to us and say, but I'm fighting for the poorest Americans. And you look at their policies, and they don't do anything. They actually crush the middle class and lower income people. And it happens in Venezuela, it happened in Cuba, and it'll happen here with AOC's policies. Am I wrong?
It's hidden taxes. And so it's harder to point to, but it's really, really obvious when you dig in and you look at what they're doing. They're going to drive the cost of housing up and all the problems that come along with a higher cost of housing.
And then this is just the space that we deal with on financial services and the author of the Green New Deal. What I also find fascinating is that Mitch McConnell brought up the Green New Deal in the Senate and said, you signed on to it, you're running on it. Again, the world's going to end in 12 years. This is catastrophic. Let's vote on it. What happened in the Senate?
Yeah, 57-0.
Right.
They don't even want to show up to vote no.
And it was 57-0 because they wouldn't even vote no. They voted what?
Or they didn't want to show up to vote no or yes, I guess.
They voted president.
I mean, yeah.
They voted president.
57.
And our listeners are going to hear this a few hours delayed. So Bryan and I are about to go to financial services right after this. We're going to vote on the amendments that we offered in the one of the Green New Deal. I guarantee you, because Maxine Waters has told her committee, they're all going to vote no on my amendment that says you should all endorse the Green New Deal. Even Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will vote no on the Green New Deal when it comes up for an amendment.
Yeah, because they know it's a terrible policy, but they want to sell it out to the American public.
Right. And
it's ridiculous.
And they know it's going to drive up the cost of housing. So if the world was going to end in 12 years, don't you think that you would vote yes on that portion that affects housing? I think so. but they're all going to vote no. Just like in the Senate, they all voted no. And I don't. What happens with that? So